Hello, welcome to the November edition of PASD Monthly. We have some great events to review from October and some great things looking ahead for November. We will start with congratulating our elementary cross country student participants. Coach Penberthy and Coach Moran worked hard to involve our elementary students in cross country and concluded the activities with a 1 mile run at Doc Letchfield Park. Thank you, runners, parents and family, and most of all, our coaches who made this happen. Pinconning High School 9th and 10th grade students attended an event called Mad Money, hosted by 4-H and supported by volunteers from our community. Students had the opportunity to work through a budget as an adult. Students chose cards that gave them scenarios to follow, like career path and family size. This affected their ability to spend their budget on things like cars, clothing, and fun activities. Here are some videos from our students who attended. So tell me your name and grade.
My name is Jayla. I'm in ninth grade.
And what are you doing here today?
We're doing the Mad City Money to learn about when we go to college and go for our career and see how much money expenses are,
Budget.
bills and all that.
Have you learned anything interesting?
That kids are really expensive and I'm probably not gonna have too many.
All right, tell me your names.
Lawrence Burns.
Tucker Smerslick.
All right, we're here doing the Mad Money experience. Anything you've learned from it?
You have to spend your money realistically. You can't just spend your money however you want.
Lives can be expensive.
How are they expensive?
Well, their clothes are really expensive. Their vehicles are expensive.
Are you guys
they got a lot of fun things that they want to do.
Is this pretty neat? You guys having fun with this?
Yeah.
It's good? Great. Students have quite a few days off of school in November. These days are the 7th, the 15th, 22nd, 23rd, and 24th. November is going to go quickly. Our NHS and student council groups have teamed up to make November Homeless Awareness Month. Staff and students who wear purple in honor of Homeless Awareness Month on Fridays in November will have their name entered into a drawing for a $10 gift card. Students in 6th through 12th grade attended an assembly on November 3rd with information on homelessness and were encouraged to participate in the Food Drive Challenge. I recently had the privilege of interviewing Pinconning High School alumni Carissa Schmidt. Carissa and I have a great discussion about career choices, how Pinconning High School helped her, and keeping a balance of work and home life. What do you remember from the Pinconning area schools? Do you have a best memory or some fun things that you remember?
Oh yeah. I feel like there's probably too many to count and far too many to talk about in our time here today. But I think, what I always think about is, so I was part of the girls soccer team and we lost against Tawas, I swear 2 times a year, every year, but there was one game against Tawas that we won. And I was the one that scored the winning goal off of a corner kick. And so I feel like that moment of elation will probably live in me forever.
Absolutely.
So I think that that's up there. And then, of course, things like Mr. Steve, he would always do Pi Day on March 14th for all of the calculus courses. And so, of course, that and his jokes and everything. So I think that also I'll remember forever. But I mean, there's tons. I mean, proms, homecomings, pep assemblies, you name it. It was fun.
That's cool. Well, tell me about your college experience and your current career.
Yeah. Okay. So after graduating from Pinconning, I went to Central Michigan University and I was there for 4 years. The first year I didn't really know what the heck I wanted to do. But by the end of the second year, I had come across a professor who became a very strong mentor of mine. And he had nominated me for this program called the McNair Scholars Program. And I feel like that program and being in that program pretty much set the rest of my trajectory. It's essentially a program to help low-income first-gen students to get graduate level degrees. And by my time in that program, I kind of knew I wanted to be a college professor. So I knew I needed to go into graduate school. And that led me to going to the University of Michigan for 2 years to get my master's. Went another 4 years for getting the PhD to be able to then obviously teach at the college level. And pretty much right after I got my PhD, which was back in 2018, I went and I landed a professor role at the university, and I was there for about 4 years in different capacities as faculty. And I thought I had pretty much landed my dream job. I was like, I am living the life.
Yep.
And then just, you never know how things happen. And I had somebody from Consumers Energy reach out to me, and they were like, hey, we're looking for somebody with the skills and experience that you have in studying, how and why people do the things that they do and the behaviors they take. Are you interested in leaving academia?
Wow.
And I was like, wow, I don't know. I didn't really think about that, but at the time, my work-life balance was pretty terrible, and so I hopped at the opportunity, and I've been here now at Consumers Energy as a user experience researcher for about 2 years.
How did Pinconning schools help you prepare for what you're doing now, or maybe even through college?
Oh, yeah. So I think for me, I mean, I'm sure that my experience in high school and before really I think it probably impacted me in ways that I still haven't recognized. But what does stand out to me is that by the time I finished high school, I had taken 3 advanced placement classes, right? So I already had 9 college credits because I passed the exams, 9 college credits going into Central. And that's more than $4,000 in savings going into college. And so I think that set me up for success, not only because I'm obviously going to be able to take fewer classes, spend fewer dollars towards tuition, et cetera, but also it gave me more flexibility in the classes that I wanted to take and that I could take into my schedule, because I didn't really know what I wanted to be. And so having a little bit more flexibility and still being able to graduate within 4 years, I think that really set me up for success for sure.
Did you plan to do what you're doing now? Tell me a little bit about how consumers found you, or was there a connection? Did you have a friend, or how did they find you to bring you to them?
So I think what's funny is that, you know, I'll answer the initial question of like, did I plan on doing what I'm
Yeah.
doing? Because I think the answer is actually a little bit of, I think in my deep down, I thought yes to
Oh,
some degree, because as a kid, I was not the person that was playing dolls, or like I was very much like playing school, creating attendance
yeah.
lists, creating little like homework assignment worksheets. And so I think there was an element of me that I wanted to teach. And I just didn't know for sure going into college. And then, of course, once I realized, okay, wait a minute, teaching at the college level is exactly what I want. I think that, ironically, that is what I ended up doing. And I love teaching. I got to teach as a teaching assistant at CMU as a college student. I taught my way, so I didn't have any student loans in my master's degree and the PhD. So I think that there was a little bit there that I knew I wanted to be a teacher in some capacity.
Yeah.
Um, and then, the research piece I didn't even know existed. So that I learned through college and et cetera. Yeah. So there was a person that had actually worked at the university with a friend of mine who he and I got our PhDs together,
Okay.
and they were friends still. And so she was like, hey, is there anybody in your network that is a strong researcher?
Uh,
And she actually wanted him to come over, but it was like he wasn't even living in Michigan at the time, and he's like, I have somebody who would be perfect. And he connected the two of us, and then
that is
from
great.
there, yeah, just kind of fell in my lap.
Do you have any important lessons that you learned from high school that still apply today to your life today, to your career?
Yeah, I feel like this answer is a little bit heavy.
That's okay.
I feel like myself and the rest of my graduating class, we had like a huge loss of close friend in junior year. And I feel like as I had to kind of process that throughout life, like you don't process that right away, you kind of process it over time. And I think that it came back to is like, yes, school, yes, work. They are all important elements of our lives, but they're not our whole lives. And so I think to me, it has like really emphasized like what is the most important to me in my life. And that's obviously the people around me, the people I love, the people I want to build memories with. And I think you kind of heard it in one of my previous answers of, um, I wanted to, I left academia. I left being a college professor to come to this consumer's energy role. And a big piece of that was that my work-life balance at U of M was not great.
Hmm.
And that's my number one priority in any job that I take. And so I think recognizing that and processing it over time and figuring out how I want to lead my life, I mean, that's pretty much how I ended up
That is great.
outside of academia.
Important lesson. Very good. Is there anything now that you wish you would have done differently in high school or any time in school? I guess any of the Pinconning schools.
Yeah. So for me, I had mentioned like didn't really know what type of careers were out there. I had this draw towards teaching, but like I didn't really know a whole lot of the different types of careers that were out there. I think sometimes, being in a small town, and just being a first gen college student, I didn't recognize all of the opportunities that maybe are out there for careers. And I should have
Huh.
taken advantage of our career counselors because I guarantee they could have provided me resources. I mean, I remember my mom coming home one day and giving me like the Delta handbook that had like a ton of different jobs listed in it. And that's what I remember about my exposure to different careers. So I wish that I had taken more time to meet with our career counselors, be able to explore like what are the careers out there? What do those look like? What are the salaries that come with it?
Yeah.
Because back then I probably wasn't really thinking about that. Um, and I think another piece is like when I did get to college, I recognized that a lot of the students that came from larger school districts or larger towns, they came with more uh, experience in certain programs. And I'm sure that being from a small town doesn't keep you from being a part of those programs, but maybe I wish I had utilized our career
Yeah.
counselors to identify with those leadership types of programs, summer internships. But that's just not where I was prioritizing my time as a student. So if I could go back and do that, I would be in the career counselor's office a whole lot more than I was.